In this video, we will try to demonstrate what are regular expressions. Regular expressions are also called as regex, and we'll see some practical demonstration of how to use regular expressions in .NET. So let's first start with the definition of regular expression. A regular expression helps us to describe complex patterns in text. And once you define these complex patterns, then you can search a text, you can validate a text, you can replace, you can extract and modify the text data. Every structured data has a specific pattern. Let's consider a simple example here of a website URL. If you watch the URL very closely, right, you will see that there is a very structured pattern by which you define a website URL. The website URL is divided into three parts. The first one is www. The second one is the domain name. The third one is a com, a in, or org, the extension of the domain, right? And each of these three parts are later separated by using the dots. Right. In the same way, if you look at email address, also it has a specific pattern, or must be some kind of invoice number, which is marked by the date and the year, or must be even a simple date data type, which has a MMDD format or a YYMMDD format. So every structured data type has a pattern, and regular expression helps us to define these patterns. And once we have defined these patterns, we can then do validations, we can do searching, we can do modifying the text, etc. Now, the biggest issue with regular expressions or regex is that it is not easy to define these patterns. For instance, above is an example of a regular expression for email address. Now, people who have seen regular expression for the first time would feel this very difficult to understand. So what we'll do first is we'll try to understand the basic syntax of writing regular expression, and then we will start doing the practical demonstration. There are three kinds of symbols which can help us to define any kind of complex pattern or regular expression: brackets, caret sign, and the dollar sign. That is a B, C, and D. In the brackets, we'll be using all the three kinds of brackets. That is a square bracket, the curly bracket, and the round brackets. And we'll come to each one of these brackets and how to use them, as we do the practical demos. The caret and the dollar sign will specify the start and the end of the regular expression. So if you really see right, the way overall a regular expression would be structured by using this B, C, and D is that the start and end will be specified by using the caret sign and the dollar sign, while in between we'll have our square brackets and round brackets, defining our regular expression. So let's start with the practical demos, and let's see that how we can use this B, C, D, to specify any kind of regular expression or pattern. In order to understand regular expression, we have created a simple Windows form here with two text boxes. One text box is for data and the other text box is for pattern. So if you see here, this text box I have named it as txt data, and there's another text box which I named it as txt pattern. And on the same form, I have a simple validate button here, and this validate button, when I click right, what will happen is whatever data we have provided here will be validated against the regex pattern which we have written on this text box. Now let's see how the behind code works of the form. Now the first thing what we need to do for using regular expression is import the namespace system.text.regular expressions. That's the first step. The second step what we need to do is we need to create the regex object and specify the pattern in the constructor of the regex class. So you can see that basically I have created a regex object and I have specified the pattern. Now currently the pattern I'm going to specify is on this text box txt pattern, and then we are going to specify the txt data in the isMatch function. So whatever object you have created of the regex class, there is a isMatch function. So you'll provide the data on this function, and he will return you false and true depending on how this data matches the pattern. So now that we have created the project, so let's start taking the above validations one by one, and let's see that how we can create them or how we can write the regular expression pattern for them. So let's start with the first validation. Enter characters which exist between A and G. So let's do a control F5 here. So there's our application running. So what we want to do is we want to ensure that the end user puts data between A to G, right? So start with a square bracket. Okay, inside the square bracket say that the range is between A to G, and end the square bracket. So this is the pattern. Now if I try to put here X, right, it will give me validate false. If I try to put here N, it will give me false. If I put here B, it will give me true. So if I put valid data now, it will give me as true, or else it will give me as false. So what it is doing is it's going and taking this pattern here and validating the pattern with the data. So let's start with the next example. Enter characters between A to G with length of 3. So this validation is very much similar to the previous validation, with the only variation that we are going to validate it for the length of 3. In our previous validation, we had a problem. The validation of A to G is only done for one character. In other words, for example, if I put A here, it does validate it, okay, and that's right, okay, and if I put a wrong thing over here, it will say me it's false. But the time I say A and then if I say Z, right, it still gives me true, which is wrong. Why? Because there is a character called as Z which is outside the boundary of A to G, right? So in other words, how do we now specify a length for this validation? To specify the length for the validation, you can use the curly brackets and say that this validation has to be stretched for 3 characters, okay, or 3 length, right? So now if I hit the validate, you can see that it is false. If I say here A, B, C, it is true. If I say something like F, right, it will again, sorry, let me put Z, it will give me false. So in order to specify the length for the validation, you need to use the curly brackets. So the square bracket to specify what characters you want in the in your data, for which the validation will be true, and the curly brackets to specify the length of the validation. Now said and done, still we have not solved the main problem. If you see in this validation, right, the length is 3. If I put here ABC and if I hit validate, it says me true, which is right. But after the C, if I put Z, right, it still gives me true, which is wrong. Why? Because here it should show me again, this is false, Z is not allowed here. And I've already specified the length as 3. This is happening, why? Because the validation is not rigid, or the regex, what you specified, is not rigid. If you want to make your regular expression more rigid, right, what you can say is you can mark your regular expression with a start and an end sign, that is with a caret and a dollar sign. Now what happens is, by marking the start and the end with a caret and dollar sign, you specify that this is a rigid regular expression. So in other words, now if I try to hit the validate button, it gives me false here, okay. Not only that, if I now any kind of length which is above 3 right characters and within, and if it is not in the range of A to G, it will give me false here. So that's almost all the validations is working properly here. All right, so the caret and the dollar sign makes your regular expression more rigid. So as we discussed previously about the B, C and D, the C for the caret, the D for the dollar, and in between you will have your bracket signs, that is your square brackets as well as the curly brackets. So we have done 2 practicals. The first one where we said, okay, the character should only fall in between A to G, and the second one is, okay, the character should fall between A to G and with a length of 3 characters. Now let's move ahead to the third validation, where we say again the same thing, check for the character between A to G, but the maximum length should be 3 and the minimum length should be 1. So how do we do that? So start first with a caret sign which specifies the start of the regular expression, then specify the square bracket and say A to G, and then start with the curly brackets. Now in the curly brackets we can also specify the minimum length of the validation or of the data. So I will say here 1, 3. So here 1 specifies that the minimum length of this validation is 1, or this data is 1, and the maximum is 3, and then specify the end of the validation. So now if I put here nothing, right, it will give me false, right, because the minimum length is 1, okay. If I specify here, let's say A now, it will give me true. Why? Because yes, that is the length is 1 and it is lying in between A to G. If I put here Z, right, it will give me false here. And if I put here A, B, C, again it is true. Why? Because the length, the ABC lies in between A to G and the length is 3. If I try to put here D, it will again give me false here. So to specify the maximum characters and minimum characters, you can use the curly brackets. The first parameter of the curly bracket specifies the minimum characters, and the second parameter of the curly bracket specifies the maximum parameters. So let's move ahead to the next validation. How can I validate data with 8-digit fixed numeric format? For example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, 4, 8, right? So again, I'm sure that most of the people have guessed the answer. So start first with a caret sign as usual. So here's a caret sign. Now the way you specified the range for alphanumeric, for characters, right? In the same way, you can also specify the range for numeric. So I can say here 0 to 9. So this validation, so in other words, the data should be only between 0 to 9, and it should be of 8 length, and the end of the validation or the regular expression. So if I put here anything characters, it will give me false. It will give me false. If I put here just 1, 2 and 3, again it's false because this is not length is 8. This length is not 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it will give me true. If I go more than this, again it will give me false. Right. So again, if you want to specify the range, which is almost the next question, if you see how to validate numeric data with minimum length of 3 and maximum of 7, again very simple. You have to just put here 3, 7. So the same way how we saw the first example. So if I put here 1, 2, 3, everything is fine. Anything below 3 length, it is false, and anything till 7 is right, and anything above 7 again gives me a validation as false. So let's start with the next example. Validate invoice numbers which have format like LJI1020, where the first 3 letters are characters, okay, and the remaining are numerics of 8 length. So how do we do it? So as usual, first start with a caret sign and end with a dollar sign. So A to Z. So if you see the question, the first 3 characters are alphanumeric, alphabets. So I am saying A to Z of length 3, and after that 0 to 9 of length 8, right? So if I type now here INV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this will be true. If I remove this by any chance, it will give me a false. If I just put 1 here, it's giving me a false. If I just put SCR, it's giving me a true. If I say something like 1, this will give me a true. Why? Because 8 length. And if I go above here, it's false. So almost you can see that we are able to define an invoice number which has format of 3 characters, and the numeric length is 8. Okay, now the problem here is that if I type here capital, right, it gives me validate false, which is not right. So in other words, for example, if I say PQR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right, now this should be true. Why? Because it's right. The first 3 are characters and the rest ones are numerics. But the problem here is, the A to Z is only for small here. So what we need to do is we need to say here A to Z. In other words, also take the capitals. Okay, now this will give me true. So either A to Z small or either A to Z capital. So that was our next question. Check for the invoice number format with first three characters, either alphabet case, either capitals or either small, right? So let's start with the next question. Can we see a simple validation for website URLs, right? So if you normally see a website URL, the structure is something like this: www.questpond.com. So it always starts with www. It has 2 dots, then the domain name followed by .com, .org, .in, .us, whatever domain extensions we wish. So let's first put the caret sign and the dollar sign to ensure that this is a close-ended regular expression, and we would like the www and the dot as it is, so we'll keep this as it is. Now the domain name can be alphanumeric values with A to Z, right, 0 to 9, and must be also capital A to Z, if somebody wants to just put capitals also, right? And the size can vary from 1 to, let's say, maximum 10. Must be domain names can go above 10, but for now, we'll just say that it is 10. Okay, and we can have various domain extensions like .com, it can be .org, it can be .us, .in. So this is the OR condition, the pipe, as we have in CSharp, .in, and the round brackets. Now the round brackets signify that this is a group, and there can be a AND condition or OR condition. It is normally meant for grouping purpose, right? So there we are almost. Should always start with www with 2 dots, and then the domain name can be A to Z or 0 to 9, whatever combination it is, and then after that the dollar sign. So let's first type www.questpond.com. let's say validate. Good, it's true. Let's remove the com, it's false. Let's say questpond123.com. this is true. Why? Because it can have numerics. So questpond 123. Now that's a problem here. 123.com. True. Okay, I don't know what went wrong there. Oh, I think it went above 10 characters, right? So that's why this gave an error. So because 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So that's why the error was there, right? If you remove, must be like this, .com, again error, right? So almost, that validates our simple website URL. And now moving to the final lab, can we see a simple email validation? Now what I'll do is, I will not do this exercise here, but I will rather give this as a lab to you guys, because you already know how to use the brackets, you know how to give the $sign, the caret sign, etc. And what you can do is, you can send me your solution, or you can send me your answer at questpond@questpond.com, and I'll reply back, if the validation for email what you have written is proper or not. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. In this tutorial we saw that what is regex and how to remember regular expressions in an easy way, and then we saw some very small and nice, concise practical demonstration to understand regular expression in a proper way. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.